If you're an athlete, you know the greatest motivator of all is the fear of letting your teammates down. After all, a team is only as good as its weakest link. So you owe it to those wearing the same jersey as you to be your best every time you step on the field. That's why there's no vape in team. When you vape, you can expose your lungs to toxic chemicals that can damage your lungs. If you're a step behind, the team's a step behind. Brought to you by The Real Cost and the FDA.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. It's Ladies' Night, and it's a special Ladies' Night. So we started taking a look at older games, and we were going to continue with the NES, but the Nintendo 64 turned 28 on Monday. So I thought, you know what? Let's take a look at Mario 64 since it's 28 years old. And we have a decent panel tonight. Jenna, what's going on? How are you? Oh, we lost Jenna. Chrissy, are you there?
I am. I'm here.
Okay. All right. Hopefully Jenna comes back. We're doing it live. Lacey, how are you?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
Good. We got Mallory here. How's Mallory?
Ichi.
All right. That's I like it. And Joe, how are you doing?
Hello. Doing good. How about you?
Good. I wonder if Jenna didn't answer because I didn't say Giggle Pants. Giggle Pants, can you hear me?
The internet went all weird.
Okay, well, you're with us now. We got you now. All right.
Glad you're back.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. I literally thought I was like, oh, I didn't call her Giggle Pants. She's not answering. Like
She doesn't know her name.
My Wi-Fi broke or something there. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you're here now. So I want to just kind of kick this thing off just with a little bit of history from the game. Like the other day, we just kind of opened up the on Donkey Kong. We just opened up the NSO app and then looked at the details that were within the game there. So I'm going to do the same with Mario 64 and just read you guys some of the details about this game. I have to make a confession. When I bought the 64 was the first console I ever bought with my own money. I didn't buy Mario 64. I bought Mario Kart and I bought GoldenEye because I wanted multiplayer games. I also watched a friend beat Mario 64 because he had fought Bowser, not realizing that you do that multiple times throughout the game. So I was like, well, the end was essentially spoiled for me. I guess I don't need to play this. And it wasn't until years later, like probably within the last 4 or 5. Well, no, it was before. I think I beat it on Wii U is when I finally played through it. So probably within the last 8 years, I guess. But I even playing it so late in the game, I still enjoyed it. But looking at the details here, it says Super Mario 64, Nintendo released in 1996. Number of players 1. Playtime 1 hour and 17 minutes. So I don't know if that's how long it could take to complete it. I'm not sure. You guys, I know some of you guys are up on the speed running.
Maybe there's speed runner. That's wild. Maybe if you're just beating the game.
6 hours and 19 minutes.
I'm pretty sure the world record is like 1:30 something.
Okay.
That's how long you've played it though, because mine says 6 hours and 19 minutes.
Oh, it's actually tracking our playtime.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, if you're looking at that, then yes, that's how much you've played it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, it's so random that's actually on there because it's like this all just looks like something that was put on a PNG and put into the file. So I wasn't expecting to see it. I wasn't expecting to see it updating. So, well, there you go. I've played 1 hour and 17 minutes, and about 46 of those minutes were from last night. So it says Retrieve the Power Stars and confront the ruthless Bowser. On a bright sunny day in the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario goes to visit the princess, but finds her castle is eerily empty. Leaping through pictures hanging from the walls, he enters 15 magical worlds in a quest to collect the 120 Power Stars, pilfered by the evil Bowser, and save the day. The game's vast worlds teem with daunting obstacle courses, hidden items, puzzles, and more than 30 types of enemies. Take advantage of Mario's large selection of moves, including running, jumping, swimming, stomping, punching, and even backwards somersaulting. Special caps give him short-lived power-ups, including the ability to fly. Super Mario 64 features revolutionary camera controls that make adventuring in its 3D world a snap, even for newcomers. And there's a meme that's been going around now, probably for about the last year, that was like, not realizing why Bowser laughs every time you die, and it's because he's essentially watching the feed from Lakitu, who's filming Mario as your cameraman the entire time.
Wow.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's funny.
I was like, that makes I
never thought of it that way.
She's got a front row seat. Total sense now, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pretty funny. But I want to hear from you guys. Like, Jenna, we'll start with you. What do you have much of a history with Mario 64?
Probably about 10 seconds, but because I got it on my DS or my 3DS, sorry, and it scared the absolute life out of me. I don't know what it was. It's just the way it looks, and Bowser's laugh. It's so like, I don't know, creepy. So I just never touched it again.
And you have a bit of I would almost say, like, I don't know if it's a phobia or something, but like scary games, like scary, like you don't do well with scary games, or if games that scare you.
Yeah, I don't like to be stressed out when playing a game. No point.
And yeah, I mean, to the point that like Breath of the Wild really freaked you out, but then you eventually were able to get over it. You've been playing that, right?
I haven't been actually playing it recently, but I got the guidebook. It's definitely helped. I'm only not playing it because I'm stuck in one of the dungeon things, the Shrine Base.
I see.
Divine Beast, sorry.
I see.
Just remember, you can leave shrines and come back to them.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm like not finishing it. Like, I don't know. I won't come back to it. Like, I just know I won't come back to it.
I love it. The
way I do it is I just Google the answers.
Right.
It's fine. I'm stuck. When in doubt, Google it. No, because I done it all. It's literally fighting the water, Ganon. I can't. No, right. I literally got like one tiny wee hit off them. That's it.
I gotcha. So on DS, Mario 64 was a little bit scary for Jenna, and and so like looking at it now, like seeing it, just the gameplay you're seeing right now, like, does it look a little more inviting, or do you think it'll still be a little Bowser's laugh will still get the best of you?
Might send some shivers up my spine, but I don't know. It's just the way I'm not used to like Mario looking like that, and like, see that is terrifying.
The chain jump.
Oh,
I'll hold your hand, Jenna.
I'm actually going to have jump scares in this, like, and I just can't play it. I don't know what it is. It's just I can't see where I'm going or what I'm doing, and like, I don't know. I just get confused.
Okay, all right. And this is one of those games that, like, a lot of people talk about how it didn't age well, right? Like, and or if they didn't play it when it came out, it's kind of tough to go back to.
Yeah. See, I got stuck in the front of the castle for ages. I didn't realize you had to go through pictures. I didn't know where I was going to go or anything. I was literally just jumping around.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Then and I went in it, and then I saw I had to jump over like a whole lot of things, and I was like bombs and all, and I was like, nah, goodbye.
I'm out. Okay, all right. Well, Chrissy, let's go to you next. Any history with Mario 64?
I played it for the first time on the DS when I was about 8, I think. But it 100% looked better back then. I don't know what it is about how it looks now. It could look the exact same, but in my mind, the corners were less sharp and it was more fluid and rounded off, and it looked nicer. But all in all, what I actually did was I had the new Super Mario Brothers on my DS, and I swapped it with my cousin so that we could play the same game and this, that, and the other. And it was great. Loved it. Finished it when I was small. Can't remember how long it took me to finish it, but I know it took me forever to finish it.
Okay, all right, and I mean, so that's exciting. I'm actually taking a look right now at the DS version versus the 64, and it is definitely looks better than the 64 version. Like everything just looks a little smoother, wasn't imagining it. A little shinier. No, you weren't imagining it at all. So, not at all. I mean, obviously smaller screen and all that, but yeah, no, it does look better on the DS. That's for sure. Do you have any, like, any? It sounded like you used to kind of like play with your cousin or whatever. Like any fond memories tied to this game?
I think it was when we first decided, oh yeah, we're going to swap the games just to see what we like between the two of them. So we were literally, both of us we were at our nan's because our parents were away. So I was there for a week out in my grandmother's house out in Phoenix, and it was great. And we were just sat in the car one day with our DSs as my grandmother was going into the shop to get something. And my cousin Joseph Allen, he said, "Do you want to swap games?" Literally, that's how he phrased it. "Do you want to swap?" And I was like, "Sure, okay." Not realizing that he was getting the better side of the deal. So silly me then, of course, I take the game. He goes back up the country off Toffoli, so I was stuck with the 64 until he came back down about 3 months later when I can get my new Super Mario Brothers back from him. It was very funny because I knew that I'd messed up after he left. So it was just great to be able to. It's nice to have that fondness, because I can vividly remember us sitting in the back of an old Ford Toyota, silver Toyota, and we were just sitting there playing our games, and just the evil eye he gave me. He was like, "Do you want to swap?" And I was like, "Okay." So it's cute and it's funny, and I'm at the same time I'm kicking my backside like, why'd you do that? So.
I love it. Well, Lacey, we'll go with you. What kind of history do you have with Mario 64?
Oh boy, my history with Mario 64. So I played it. I love it so much. So I'll just start with that. I have very fond memories of this game. My first console ever was the 64. So definitely spent a lot of time in Mario 64 playing through all the levels. And I was so surprised to hear that Jenna was afraid of some of the characters. And then I just kind of thought back that, at the time I didn't feel that way, but I can see it now with a bit of, some of the creatures like the bully bosses are like on the lava levels and things like that. I'm like, yeah, they are a little bit scarier. So I love so many things about this game. Like, what can I say? Jolly Rogers Bay, that's the one with like the sunken ship. Mm-hmm. The music in that course is so comforting, so sweet. When I went back and played it after they ported it on the not the N64, on the Switch for Nintendo Online, I enjoyed so much just the feeling that popping into that level gave me. It just brought such a rush of like nostalgia. And a fun fact about Mario 64 is when I was in high school in computer class, our classes would be like an hour and a half long, might have even gone to like an hour 45 because we had block classes. And so I'd be done with my coursework within 30 minutes. So I had about an hour to burn. And I don't know what I did. I found some sort of site that had ported Mario. They called it Mario 63. But I played through Mario 64 at school during my computer classes for a full semester. And it was so much fun. So I was extremely excited when I saw that it was able to be brought onto Nintendo Online for the Switch. And I really just love like so many of the creative ways that you have to maneuver through all of the courses. I really love this game so much. I even watch speedrunners do the game on Twitch. I just think it's so nostalgic and fun. It's really, I would never speedrun it because I just don't want to challenge myself that way. But jumping back in there and just exploring the courses again is so much fun for me.
I agree. Like, I didn't play it much when it first came out, but like even last night, jumping in and playing it for another 45 minutes or whatever, and just and it's been long enough that I was like, okay, I think I need the hat, but I don't have the hat yet. But then we just did the we just did the challenge. It was like, okay, I got to try to get all these coins with the with the cannon, and chat was playing along and like, okay, should I put it here or should I put it there? And Joe's like, yes, absolutely, hit it. And so it was just fun going back, and even in Odyssey, I make Mario look like Mario 64. Like at times, like there's something about those sharp edges that I don't mind. So, well, Mallory, let's head over to you. What is your history with Mario 64?
I also played this when I was a kid. I remember just coming home from school and playing this game. Actually, it reminds me of like fighting with my siblings a lot. Honestly, I'm looking at the video because I have not played it since I was a kid, and I just keep thinking about the times that like we would fight over this, and then like my brother being like, you're doing it wrong, or like my sisters being like, you're doing it wrong, and then trying to steal the remote control from me and play it. Yeah, this is giving me like serious flashbacks right now watching this. I think that at the time at this game, like the graphics and everything in it was like ahead of its time, you know what I mean? Like you went and played any other game and it wouldn't have the same graphics. So obviously looking at it now, it looks really outdated and old, but at the time, like this was it, this is the game you played if you had a Nintendo 64 or Mario Kart, honestly. Because I remember there was this other game, it was like Metroid or something like that, and it didn't look anything like this. It was very pixely and stuff, and this is the game that you played.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So how many siblings did you have?
Oh, I have 5.
So, okay. So you guys were seriously fighting over one controller at that point.
Yeah. That's why usually we just played Mario Kart, and Nintendo 64 had like 4 slots for controllers, and everybody fought over the cool purple clear one that you could see through,
Yes. Yes, I love it. I love it.
Over the ugly gray controller. But yeah, it was a good time. This is I think my favorite picture, I guess, in the game was like the one that you would go down the tunnel or like the hall and you would belly slide and try to collect all the coins. Or probably like the Snowland.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, Snowland, where you would have the little penguin.
That was my question. Yep.
Sacrifice the penguin baby.
Yeah. I'm going off of memory though. I couldn't I mean I haven't played it recently like you guys have. I'm literally just coming in and seeing it and I'm like, wow, yeah. That's what I remember from it. It's been 20 plus years though since I played.
I was gonna see if I could scrub through the video and find some of the Snowland, but it looks like it's
Cool Mountain
on a different.
It is a bit of a shock that this is 28 years old.
Yeah.
So that's fun to realize it's been that long.
Yeah, I mean it makes me feel a little older, but that's okay. We always joked that my dad was named after this game, even though he was clearly born before this game because his name's Mario. So
I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I have kind of a fun follow-up question for all of you guys. I think it's going to be fun to hear the answers. But Joe, what is your history with Mario 64?
I've got a lot. So for me, Mario 64 was like, well, the DS version, I should say, was like one of the first games I really started playing because it wasn't until about maybe like 2009, 10, I started playing it because my brother wouldn't let me, play his DS. I was around 10 years old at the time. And I would play the two games he had, which was Mario Kart DS and Super Mario 64 DS. And oh my God, like I played it so much. I was so bad at it, but it started my like love for like gaming and gaming on the internet. And it was like the first thing that I looked up like with games on YouTube. And it was like let's plays of Super Mario 64 DS, and I would watch them and then I would go and do it. And it was so satisfying to finally be able to like beat these levels. And I ended up completing like all three of the files that they give you. I know on the 64 version they give you 4 files. On the DS they give you 3. And I completed all of them, even though I was so bad at Bowser throws. I would make my brother do it for me. I'm still not good at it. I'm still not good at it to this day. And I remember one of my friends in school had it too on the DS, and she was like, "I can't beat these levels." And I was like, "Give me your game," because it's back in the day where you just needed the cartridge and you could put it in your DS and you were playing like their files.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, so I was like, "Give me your game." So like I would borrow her game for like a week and I'd give it back to her. She's like, "How did you get all these stars?" And I'm like, "It's my secret," even though literally I was looking them up on YouTube. And then I'm literally playing it as we speak because I have 3D All Stars on the Switch, and I've gotten, I mean, it's been a while since I've played it, and I've gotten to about 110 stars. Yeah, 110. So I'm still missing 10, but I will say this is a lot harder than it was on the DS, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna get those final few stars. But yeah, very, very fond of this game. Very fond memories with this game. It really did start like it sparked that gaming interest in me, I would definitely say. And like seeking out stuff on the internet and even being part of communities to this day. I have friends who speedrun this game. So it holds a very, very special place in my heart and still holds a big place in my life because I have friends because of it. So yeah.
I love that. I love when you said you did all 3 save files. Like that was me with Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Like I did the exact like 100% at all 3 of them. Like it was just that I couldn't stop playing it. So I love hearing that. That's amazing. I also love that you were basically helping your friends complete their games. Like that's so cool. So cool. So, okay. So question number 2, Jenna, we're going to start back with you again. Did you play which Mario game did you play first? A 2D or a 3D Mario game?
3D.
3D. And do you remember which one it was? Was it Galaxy?
Yeah, I think actually it was definitely on the way. Would Mario Party be classed as 3D?
Well, yeah, but just as far as a like an actual Mario, like an actual Mario game.
Yeah, definitely Galaxy.
Okay. So when you finally did get to play 64, did it feel just like you were going back in time?
Yeah, it really did not feel right to me. I'm actually playing it now as well now that I've got to a wee bit through the first level, and yeah, I can see why I was scared of it.
What do you think of the controls and how it feels?
I don't like the camera. Like I hate it.
The camera's janked. It's not fun.
It's tough. It's tough to get used to. That's for sure. Chrissy, how about you? What was your first? Was your first Mario 2D or 3D?
My first Mario was 2D. It was the Super Mario the new Super Mario Brothers. Like that. It was the first game I got on my DS, and it was great. Loved it. Was played all the way through. even the secret level 7, the cloud one. Those levels on it, and I loved how it was just straightforward, and I didn't really have to look for things. Because,
Okay.
as a child, I was not patient.
Okay.
So it was great that it was just like a straightforward game. You kind of knew where everything was. And like that, the graphics and stuff inside, and it just looked good for the time that it was. But then when I moved on to Mario 64 on the DS, while it looked clean, the the camera was janked and it just was not fun to play with until I got the hang of it. And once I was able to kind of work my way around it and kind of understood that I actually had to go look for things, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I really did. But
You
I was
made
not a patient child.
you made a statement about like how your cousin got the how you got the short end of the stick essentially, and so
Yeah.
like would you say at least at that time you really felt the 2D Marios were superior to the 3D?
Yeah, I really did think that the 2D Marios were superior. I thought it was revolutionary, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it's just because when I say I got the short end of the stick, it was mainly because like I said, I wasn't a patient person, and I wasn't really used to having to like work my way around things like with the camera and fight with the controls, rather than I just hit A once and I'm able to jump where I need to jump in the 2Ds.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I just always felt it was off-putting that I had to fight with the controls in the 3D Marios. So I did prefer the 2Ds to the 3Ds.
I got you. Well, if I mean on DS we were I assume a little limited with the way you could move the camera. Did you have to move the camera by touching the screen? I don't even remember.
On the DS?
Yeah.
You could touch the screen or you could use the stylus.
Yeah.
Right. So because like, on the 64, you use the C buttons, but and then you still had your A and B buttons, but that wouldn't be the case on the DS. It's just interesting. It's such a different I'm like, I wonder if that makes it more difficult having to like, pull your stylus out to move your camera around, or I mean, I'm sure you could center it with one of the triggers, right, to get it to come right back behind you. Do you guys remember?
I think we were using left trigger and the right triggers as well to move the cameras around. I could be wrong in saying that though.
Gotcha.
No, that
I
sounds
think
right.
that was one of the way it worked.
Okay. All right. Well, Lacey, how about you? What was was this your very first Mario, or was there one before it?
It's the first one I owned, but not the first one I played. So I guess the first one I played would technically be a 2D game. I think it would have been either Super Mario Brothers 2 or maybe Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
Because that's what would be available at, like my cousin's house when we would go over there and play, it would be that. So I think that was my initial exposure to the game. But the first one that I actually owned and was able to play completely was Mario 64, which is why I have such fond memories to it. And I think it has influenced my preference of games as time has gone on, because I've always preferred there to be a 3D navigational way to go through things instead of it being like a side scroller.
Okay.
And so I've found that that's my preference across all games now.
So it's so interesting that literally based on the time that we played this game, right? For Chrissy, this game felt like going backwards, but for you and for me and I'm assuming probably Mallory, this was revolutionary.
Oh, it felt like the future. Yeah, it felt like the future. Like, oh my gosh, I can move in every direction. I can fly. I can swim.
Yeah.
Things like that. I was so consumed by this game for so long. So it was always funny, when you would move into a different game that would be like a similar, because I think they also did the game pretty well. It might not stand up against time because things have moved so quickly since then, But at the time, like even the other Nintendo games were no comparison. They just would not navigate well. The things wouldn't be built out, voicing wouldn't be done as well. So I just think this one is really well done as a whole. So could be the nostalgia factor, but that is what it is too.
Mallory, how about you? What was the what was your first Mario game?
It was probably Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Because I know my grandparents had it, and when we would go over their house, we would play all the time, and that's what kind of got my parents to buy us the Nintendo 64. And I think that was my first game. That's 2D, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
2D.
So how did it feel going from that to this? Like, was it like I said, was it kind of revolutionary for you?
Yeah. It was definitely. I think it was for my childhood eye. It was very appealing. I love the graphics, the colors. I think that's what drew me in. Also, like the fact that it was 3D and you could move more. I guess was very exciting. I wasn't really like a Mario Kart Mario player either. Like when we got video games in our house, like we played other games more often than anything Mario. I think it's just because like, the whole aspect of having multiple kids in the house, there was like more games that were multiplayer. I also like we all were like really big fans of like we had like Game Boys and stuff.
Mhm.
So we would play on Game Boy. I remember playing like Zelda a lot. And then
Okay.
when we got the Nintendo 64, like having Zelda, we were all obsessed with that, and we would watch each other for hours just play that. So I guess going into Mario was more exciting and more like I guess it was more for I would say like the age group below me, like my younger siblings. So I mean, it's fun.
Do you remember getting the feeling that it was like, I feel like I'm playing a cartoon? Like I'm playing, like I am it felt more like you were the main character than just kind of controlling. Like the 2D Marios were fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I loved them. But like all of a sudden it's like, you're not limited to just left and right. You can literally go anywhere. And that just felt so insane at the time because it was, but that's part of the reason I'm asking too. Like if like, like for Jenna playing Mario Galaxy first, where it's like this like gorgeous game with like all of these different physics and mechanics
Spoiled
and
rotten.
everything and then to go back to this one where it's like, I feel like Mario's going to poke my eye out with his hat or whatever, because all the edges are so sharp, so.
Pointy.
Yeah, that nose is kind of outside insane. I mean, I guess like watching like my kid play now, I think I get the same feelings because when we first got our Switch, I had put the Super Mario Brothers on there, the Super Mario Brothers world, and then all of a sudden I saw that there was a 3D world. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And so I downloaded that, and watching him play both of those games, which he's really good at, it's insane. Like his excitement going from like, look, you can go this way now, you can go that way. It's like in his brain, he's like, this is so cool. And I think he really likes the cat aspect of it too, because he loves cats. So, I mean, yeah, I guess I feel like that would be my excitement too when I was a kid. That I would have had the same reaction.
Yeah, it was a magical time for sure. And I mean, I don't know if you guys saw some of the TikToks I put up just showcasing the commercials yesterday, but like the marketing was so wild, like just so wild, and it's such a different time than what it is now. Joe, how about you? I think your what was this one your first, or was it Galaxy?
No, it was this one, but on the
Okay.
DS.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that
So
was my first.
prior to, so no 2D Mario, so that you just jumped right into the 3D Mario was your first.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So no, this game just, did you literally feel right at home? Like when you picked this up, like, did you see any other, cause I'm thinking around the time of the DS, like there would have been Sunshine was out.
Yes. I always forget that because it's like I didn't play it as much because my brother didn't let me touch his GameCube either. So like I watched a lot of it. But I'm okay, so if I'm not mistaken, that Sunshine came out, before 64 on the DS did. So to me, they were kind of like hand in hand. I mean, I think obviously Sunshine being displayed on like a TV, it like looked better versus the DS being on such a tiny screen. Oh man, see now I'm like doubting myself. I'm like, is Sunshine my first 3D game? But I didn't really get to play it as much. So no, I would still consider 64 on the DS my first 3D game. But yeah, I even again on the GameCube, that was my only other experience really seeing Mario other than Mario Kart. So yeah, 3D is all I really knew for a while.
Have you spent much time with the 2D ones since?
Honestly, no. I've tried to play some that are on like the NSO, and then my only other like real 2D experience is Wonder. So if you even consider that a 2D game.
Oh yeah, of course.
So some people don't. Some people see it as like 3D because of how animated it is and whatnot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, but that's where my experience ends with 2D.
Oh my goodness, this is so fun. Your guys are getting me so excited about getting to jump into some of these other games on NSO and hear your reactions for the first time. Like I'm
excited too.
So excited. Mm-hmm. So I did just check, and Mario 64 DS was 2 years after Sunshine.
Yep. That's what I thought.
Oh yeah, so interesting. But yeah, Jenna, are you still playing, or did you throw in the towel?
I just gave up there now, but I got 1 star.
You got
literally the one with the chain jump.
Hey, you got one.
You went to the chain jump?
No, because I only got it after I watched you do it.
I didn't go to see did I get that one too.
I just after that I couldn't be bothered. I couldn't be bothered thinking to actually figure out how to do it. That's the thing.
So this is the last question then, is how do you feel like this game has aged?
I don't think you want us to answer that question.
No, I do. I think it'll be fun. So
I actually think it's aged quite well because I see people on my For You page playing it quite often.
Okay, all right.
Lives and stuff. So it seems to be like they're obviously doing like speed running and like playing with friends and stuff, but like seems to have like still a good fan base.
Yeah, visually it didn't necessarily hold up just because of where things were at the time. However, the mechanics I think really stood up.
It looks a lot better than a lot of older games I've seen, I will say. It's just scary.
I will agree
the
with.
laugh. I have to mute it.
I love it. Well, Chrissy, where do you stand? How do you think this game has aged?
It's aged well enough considering how bright and colorful it is, and while the edges are sharp, it's not the worst game I've seen. Like you've played games like Win Back and stuff on stream, and I'm like, this is horrendous.
Yeah.
That's true.
So all in all, it's aged well enough considering when it was made and what they had for that time. So like it was revolutionary then and things like that. But it looks good enough. But like that now I've just rage quit as well because I kept falling off the slide in the snow mountain, so I'm over it.
I was going to slide in Peach's room or something, and I done it once and then fell. I just quit.
I think 20 stairs in the time that I've been here is good enough.
There's a clip somewhere out there of me trying to like navigate. I think it's on that snow level, and I'm trying to navigate like it's kind of a platforming area, like on the underside, and I get almost to the star, and then I fall and I slide all the way back down to the bottom, and I was like, it was in the middle of a 24-hour stream too, so I was like, well, I don't get to I don't get to throw in the towel. I got to keep on going.
Keep on trekking.
Yeah. Well, Lacey, you kind of answered, but like, how do you think this game is aged?
Yeah, I think it's aged pretty well, honestly. I mean, do I feel like I'm going back in time when I play it on Nintendo Switch Online? Yes. But I have a deep appreciation for how the mechanics have grown since then. I mean, that they were established then, I guess I should say. So I think it holds up really well. It does also, which we experienced this last night playing Mario Kart. I feel like it's more difficult than games are now because of how tight the margins are. So I think in some ways, the quote unquote improvements done to games have made them smoother, which makes things a little bit easier. So it's kind of fun to go back and challenge yourself in those ways too. So I think it's held up a good, that's why there are so many people that do speed runs for it, because it's a genuine challenge. So I think in that manner, it's held up really well.
Actually, when you said that, I feel like they've made more games kids friendly with how smooth they've made the mechanics in comparison to to Mario 64, where it's a struggle to do things.
Right. I think the games are a little bit more generous now. And they also, like, Jenna, was it you that said that you didn't even know to like jump into the pictures and stuff? So I mean, sometimes like they just don't, you just have to figure it out. Whereas now I think if Mario 64 had been made today, they would have like a little whisper of a jump or something to show you to jump into it. So
honestly, probably a lot of parents complaining about them buying their kids consoles and then their kids breaking it.
Right. I mean, there was a number to call back then, right? Like they would actually be able to call and ask for help. So
my mum would have loved that number when my brother was breaking all his controllers for his Xbox and having to use all mine.
That's a thing. You used to be able to call and get help from someone.
Yeah,
yes. Although, there was no Google. I keep forgetting that.
Oh
yes, what was it called? It was like an entire team of people that they had that would answer phones to help you get through different Nintendo games.
Yeah, I'm looking for the exact name right now. It was
I know it's like not coming to my mind. I mean, imagine getting paid to be an expert on that, and that was like your 9 to 5. That you would just be essentially Nintendo help desk to be like, yeah, if you want to get through this level, you're actually gonna have to triple jump and then do a somersault to that platform. Pick up the bomb and then throw it. And then there'd be a frustrated 6-year-old on the other end be like, well, I can't do it.
You do it for
that'd
me.
be a perfect job for you.
I'm like,
bring it back.
There are jackets that they used to wear that I'm like, I would love to
have that jacket.
Yes, get that jacket in my collection. Like, okay, so it looks like the Nintendo Power Hotline went from 1987 to 2005. And you could call and talk to a gameplay counselor to get help and advice for Nintendo games. And the counselors were also highlighted in the counselor corner section of the Nintendo Power magazine. So there you go. And there's always the jokes.
Being your job.
So there's always jokes that your uncle works for Nintendo, right? Like that's always been like everybody just says, well, my uncle did not, but he had a friend who was a gameplay counselor. And so
that's cool.
So like they would come over on the weekends and she's like, hey, I need you guys to like no life this game with me. And they would like look for ways to like break the game or do like almost like game testing it in a way, but like because they would then get these phone calls from kids that are like, hey, I'm stuck on whatever level. Like it's funny you guys bring this up. I literally watched yesterday a TikTok of I think it was like ABC News was in the call center, and somebody called in and they're like, "Hey, the news is here. Are you okay with that?" They're like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "I can't figure out how to get the white sword in The Legend of Zelda." And he's like, "Okay, well, you got to have 12 hearts." And then, just kind of went through the list with them, and they're like, "Oh, I wasn't doing this or whatever." And then they go ahead and complete it. But that's, and quick side note here. Let me see. Somebody else had pulled it up. It was something like $1.50 a minute when you called this thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
They
because
were getting paid well.
yeah, it was essentially a like the 1-900 numbers from back in the day. So let's see, here we go. So if you were stuck in a certain game, you could call the Nintendo hotline. Yeah. So 1-900 was $1.50 per minute in the US, and in Canada it was $2 per minute. But if you were local to Washington, I didn't know this, the call was free. So I could have called for free as a kid, but I was like, I think my parents I grew up in an area where we had a county line, and if I called the people on the other side of the field, it was long distance, and I would hear about the charges on the phone bill. So, but yeah. So $1.50 a minute. Be careful, kids. Don't leave the phone off the hook talking to the Nintendo counselors. So, well, unfortunately, Joe had to step out, so we don't get to hear any more from her. But I do want to touch back on what Lacey was saying about the controls and the controller. Since Nintendo re-released the 64 controllers on the Switch, I feel like it is easier to play those games with that controller. Like, it just feels more natural and the way it should be, versus trying to play it with like the Pro controller or the Joy-Cons or anything like that. And because we did play some Mario Kart 64 last night, and we got wrecked in 150.
Oh my gosh, it was awful. I was questioning everything.
Yeah. It was a little bit brutal for sure. So, any go ahead.
Touching
Chrissy.
on that, when you first start, like when you're playing the Mario 64 on the Switch, when it's going through the controls, it's all of the old controls. So you don't actually, I never actually knew which buttons were which on the Switch, because it was all the 64 controls. So I was always confused.
Oh, for sure.
As to what they meant by hit C. I was like, but there's no C on the car remote.
Right. Yeah.
So so it's great that they re-released them. So it would be much easier for you to play the 64 games with that controller, because they just essentially emulated all of the games the way they were back when they were on the 64 straight onto the Switch. So it has all of the old controls. So it would be much, much easier to play with that controller than with the Joy-Cons or the your wireless controllers or whatever it would be.
And it looks like the version that we're watching now is from 3D All-Stars, and it looks like they may have, I think they did update, so it said ZL, which you wouldn't have seen in the because you only had L, R, and Z. Z was the trigger under the center, under the stick on the 64. Yeah. So, but the NSO version, like you're saying, Chrissy, is exactly that. It's just got to figure it out. Which the C stick should be the left or the right analog stick, but still so confusing to go back to. Not
just the right bumper when I was playing it there.
Oh, interesting. That's so crazy. Because on the GameCube, they turned it into a stick. On the GameCube, it's a yellow C stick, right? They just made it because it's essentially just another D-pad. What's really funny is it's essentially the like what the Joy-Cons have now. So it's just funny the way their controllers have all bled over to each other. So
I was pressing the D-pad and nothing was happening. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. I love it. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up here. Jenna, are there any places that people can connect with you online?
You can find me at Giggle Pants in Josh's Discord.
And she is guaranteed to giggle. No question. See. And Chrissy, how about you?
You can find me on essentially any social media at Chrissy Fitz. So I'm very easy to find, trust me.
Love it. Love it. Lacey, how about you?
You can find me pretty much any social, Lacey Pacey. Love chatting with people in the Discord. It's a great community to join, so I really suggest it.
And Mallory, how about you?
You can find me on TikTok at madmal99.
Playing some Fortnite.
Yeah, playing Fortnite.
I love
We're
it.
kicking butt on Josh's stream.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, all of you guys love to hit me with shells on the regular. It is a beautiful thing, and I've never hit any of you with shells, right, Mel?
Stop lying.
Ever.
Yeah, never lies.
Nonsense.
Liar.
Raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by Josh Michelle's.
All hands shoot up.
Oh, every single one of our hands shoot up.
Whoopsie. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out.
That's gaslighting. Alrighty. Well,
yeah, thanks again for being here. And guys, thanks so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one. Bye now.